Killer Klay Thompson came out and had a big night, 30 points. He was very pissed off after last game, and I had no doubt in my mind that he would come out and have a big game. Klay is from Southern California, grew up a Lakers fan. Dad played for the Lakers. Dad works for the Lakers. This really means a lot to Klay. Obviously, it means a lot to all of us. But, you know, there are just some circumstances that may make a game or series mean a little more, and I think this is one of those for Klay.
Oh, welcome, Zena Keita.
I can't with y'all two. I can't with y'all two.
Zena Keita.
Y'all, both of y'all just grinning from ear to ear. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
JaMychal Green
Go
and
ahead.
his endearing Southern accent. Being from the South, being from North Carolina, I just love listening to JaMychal Green speak. But obviously, his performance the other night was also endearing and also perfectly timed. But we'll get into that.
We will get into it. I mean, I tell you, Zena, I think you know I'm someone who doesn't always speak as highly of Steve Kerr as many others do, but I have to give props where props are due. And he made the adjustment. They went small, not small in the traditional way that they would, but he went small.
Did he though?
Kevon
Looney got sick. I mean, it's like, are we, you know, I mean, that was, hey, listen, foul money is good money, but I mean, it wasn't strategic as much as it was necessity. Was it not, or am I missing something?
I feel like it is strategic because he could have went small, like full small, which he's done before and going to Jordan Poole. And he didn't go that route. He went, I mean, when I tell you no one could have put money that JaMychal Green was starting yesterday. No one expected that move.
Right.
It was smart because you think about they needed to stretch the floor. They needed to get Anthony Davis and LeBron James out of the paint. And who knew JaMychal Green, averaging 30-ish% in the three, would be the guy.
I'm not saying it didn't work. I'm not saying it didn't work, and I'm not saying it shouldn't work moving forward. I'm saying unless I'm missing something, wasn't this necessitated by Kevon Looney being under the weather, so they had no choice but to go with JaMychal Green? Or am I missing something?
There's the last part of your sentence. They didn't have. It's not. They had no choice. They had choices, and they made a strategic one with JaMychal as opposed to.
Okay.
And they also could have still started Kevon Looney and just played him less minutes. And because he played. So I do think you have to give him one, and I don't give him many, so I'm giving it to him.
Well, but even that, like JaMychal Green playing like that. I mean, listen, the strategy of going smaller, I get that. Okay, I get playing Draymond Green a lot more on Anthony Davis. We'll get to him in a second. I'm saying like, listen. Steve Kerr is a great coach and is a great tactician, in my opinion, and makes a lot of awesome adjustments. The Warriors do tend to figure things out. They have a lot of options. They have a lot of tools in their tool belt. But A, going to JaMychal Green when Kevon Looney is sick. B, JaMychal Green delivering the kind of performance that he did. That's the second part of this. Not just you can't count on that. You couldn't count on that going into that game, and you certainly can't count on that going forward.
For sure.
So that's why I can only give so much credit. So the irony here, Nat, is you typically don't give Kerr credit, but you're giving him credit now. I love Steve Kerr, but I'm not giving him that much credit for JaMychal Green saving the day.
Yeah,
go ahead, Nat.
I think right. I mean, obviously, when they go small, that means that Dre is going to be at the 5 and he's going to be on
AD.
Or 80, right? But there was another thing too. He put the ball in Steph's hands, right? And so you saw point guard Steph Curry, the one who everyone tells me isn't a traditional point guard, right? And so that's a big change.
Who are these people? Who are these people you're addressing?
They think I'd be making up stuff. So can you tell him how many people go on air and say he's not a true point guard?
It's crazy. When Steph has the games that he has, when he has 12 assists, etc., they call that an aberration. They make it seem as if it's, wait, this is so different. No, we're seeing what Steph Curry has always been able to do, which is distribute the ball. They've always said, oh, well, he's always running around. He's coming off ball. He's not a traditional point guard with the ball in his hand, just, dictating where people are going. No, he can do that too. He's just capable of doing both. And most of the times he can keep doing that running around thing that most people don't want to guard, and it works. But he's capable of what he was doing the other night. The internet, that's who said it.
Well, but okay, there we go. Zena, thank you.
No, not just the internet. Not just the internet, because we had, who was it? Just RJ the other day on JJ Redick's pod. Like, I'm sorry, I don't consider him a point guard. I don't consider him a point guard. Like,
but wait a second. I guess the reason I responded that way, Zena, is not that everything y'all said is true. I respond that way because it's like, I'm just too old. I'm just too old to be dealing with ignorance. And so somebody who's using that Steph is not a traditional point guard as some kind of a criticism, he's not a point guard, he's a Steph. Okay, what's a traditional point guard? Mark Jackson? You want to be Mark Jackson? That's not him. Anybody who knows anything about this team, and y'all forgot more about this team than I know, is that the entire system is built on him. Whether he averages 12 assists or not, his designation is point guard. But who cares if when you got a Draymond Green? It's not built for him to get as many assists as he did last night. That's not his job. His job is to be the one and only Steph Curry. So that's why I reacted that way. It's like, not a point guard. Like whoever these people are that are saying that he's not a point guard and using that as to try to knock him down a notch, please stop listening to those people, Natalie. That's all I'm saying. They don't know what they're talking about.
They may not be trying to knock him down a notch, but I think why I push back against that is because I guess when it's coming to comparing him to other point guards or like where he ranks and not knowing how to rank him because he's a point guard, my whole thing is that like a point guard's job, or one of them, is to create opportunities on their team for their teammates. And Steph does it in an untraditional way, but he creates all
seen and unseen
opportunities. Right?
He creates opportunities seen and unseen.
Exactly.
Yeah, hockey assist, the whole thing. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So it's just like he's still doing that, even if it doesn't look like what we know and recognize it to be. And so I don't see why we have to be like, oh, I don't know how to like evaluate him the same way. So,
two more characters I want to get to. Zena, can you articulate so the big boy to Steph's 3 stacks, the guy that doesn't take a back seat to Steph, but is riding shotgun. When Klay is hitting threes, 8 of them last night, it just hits different. Like he energizes this team and elevates this team, not necessarily in a better way, of course, not than Steph when he's in his bag, but just in a different way. Can you am I making sense? Can you both of y'all, but Zena first, can you articulate like the Klay effect when Klay's doing his thing like he was last night?
1000%. Klay is a person that his entire persona on the internet particularly is this, I'm kind of just going through life. I'm chilling. I'm enjoying my dog. I'm enjoying my boat, etc. And, Steve Kerr mentioned this a while ago. Klay is the killer. Like, don't get this twisted. Klay is also just as competitive and just as cutthroat as his Draymond and Steph comparisons around him. Like, he is just a killer too. And when he does show up shooting the 3 like daggers, you're not expecting that sort of persona out of him because he's usually chill Klay. Oh, he's turned on Klay. He's locked in Klay. He is absolutely going for the jugular Klay. And that is a lift for everyone around him. That's when, Klay ain't playing around. Okay, y'all, come on, let's go. It's almost another level of added urgency when he's locked in like that. And you can see him getting riled up, getting hyped up. And again, as a person that has a typically more chilled demeanor, when you're up and you're riling up your teammates like that, that adds another level to it. So I think that's where it comes from. And with Steph, it's like, he has a version of this too, because he's baby face killer, right? Because he's so sweet and he's calm and he's so in the moment. So both of them have these dimensions to them that when they tap into what people aren't expecting from them, it gets everyone around them like, oh, I need to tap in too. Just like JaMychal said when we started the show, he locked in. And I think people locked in tonight.
I don't got any more to add. She said it. She said it all.
She said it all. But having said all of this, I love y'all two together. Having said all of this, like last night went exactly as expected. Like the Warriors played like their season depended on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Their level of urgency. Draymond stepped up. Obviously, Klay stepped up. We talked about JaMychal Green. They out-rebounded the Lakers 55-40 with Looney playing 12 minutes. I think that's 16 straight games where the home team loses game 1. The home team loses game 1 and then comes back in 16 straight series, I beg your pardon, where the home team loses game 1 and then comes back and rebounds and wins game 2. So like both of these teams, I'm saying, like both of them feel like they got the other one right where they want them. Like the Lakers got their split. The Lakers got their split. No, I'm saying the Lakers got their split, Natalie, so they feel good. And the Warriors probably feel like all is right with the world, which I'm not so sure about that. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so the part I'm pushing back against a little bit is, one, I don't think it's like the Warriors really did that much. They made some adjustments, but I thought they played really well in game 1 too. It was just the adjustment came too late in the game.
Oh yeah.
Like, they showed up to win that game. So I don't think I think they just knew, like, we're just going to come in and do what we always do and we'll be fine. And they dominated. They blew them out. And I think the Lakers, while, yes, they got the split that they wanted, they have to be concerned because LeBron can get in the post game and say, oh, yeah, like, we're the best defense still. But the pattern continues with Anthony Davis in that he's inconsistent. Well, yes. You get Anthony Davis one game, and then you get a different Anthony Davis another game. And now they only have one night off in between games. He played 44 minutes last game. They need him to be that version of himself.
Well, he did get a little bit of a break last night thanks to the blowout, you know?
Right.
So it sounds like, though, but we always get the same Natalie. Because, Zena, what I'm hearing from Natalie, and I'm sure you echo this, what I'm hearing, Natalie, is last night is more what you think, shocker, this series is going to be. Like, you think last night was more representative of what this series truly is. Zena, do you concur? And then I'll have to represent for the Lakers.
I
in
do.
the interest of fairness.
I know, of course you have to be representative of the Lakers. And the thing about it is like, I'm not trying to disrespect them or anything like that, but
yeah,
those are the facts. There has been this up and down appearance from AD all season long. And so the Warriors are not very surprised by what happened last night. So when you started out with saying the game went exactly the way that, the Warriors expected it to, I would say that it went the way that they expected to play all season, the way that they've, who they are as the Warriors. The adjustments that they had to make because Kevon was sick and, they wanted to adjust for AD, I think that was a little bit different. But I don't think that it was so different from what they were doing in game 1, to Natalie's point. Like, they came out and showed, I mean, that game was entertaining. I'm confused from a Lakers perspective. How did you dip so hard? Like, that game was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Nothing changed on your end other than the amount of nights you got between the first game and the second game, right? That's the only change. So I think that's what I would like from the Lakers perspective.
Yeah, all the numbers said that the Warriors should have won game 1. We know how that one ended. I guess my thing about AD, and Natalie, this precedes you because I'm sure Michael Holley's proud of you. Or maybe y'all have talked about it. It's like I've always had to cape up for AD because I think we got to be like AD is like Debo. Like when he show up, everybody be quiet. But when he leave, they be talking again. It's like, and he gives them everything to talk about because he does it. He's literally alternated the games this year. But you're right, Zena, you hit it on the head, or this playoffs, I should say. You hit it on the head with the one night of rest. He has to do so much defensively. And the reason I think that this series can still be a long series is I believe there's still an opportunity for Darvin Ham and the Lakers to adjust in terms of how they get AD the ball on the offensive end. They can better help him on the back line defensively. But even on offense, I mean, like, I don't mean to oversimplify it, and Draymond definitely played him tougher. And Draymond, of course, shocker, a tough matchup. Zena, I'm looking at a lot of the same shots, and I think AD might have said this. A lot of the same shots that he made in game 1, he takes too many shots outside the paint anyway. He made them in game 1, he didn't make them in game 2.
Right, exactly.
That's legs.
That's legs.
One night off in between games.
And that's what the Lakers have to figure out. Like, how do we help this AD situation? Because AD is going to show up on the defensive end. Like, I am actually a fan of AD. I like him. I think I'm a person that respects defensive players. The thing about it is, though, you can't have an AD that has been inconsistent offensively be the guy where if he doesn't perform and the headline the next day isn't that AD dropped 30 points or 40 points, then you don't win. Like, you as an organization, as the team, you've got to figure out, all right, we know that AD is going to show up for us defensively. How can we help him on that end so that he can also help us out on the offensive side? Or if we're not going to do that, we can't ask him to do both, right? We can't have him battling on the boards, blocking and being the main front line of defense when Warriors players are driving, and then not help him get all the way down the court and then have him post up on the block or coming up. I mean, it's just, there's too much. So I think that the Lakers have to figure out how to help their big man, because yes, he is doing a lot for them right now. And this series doesn't account for the fact that he needs rest in between those performances.
I still think, Natalie, this could be a long series because I do not put it past the Warriors to, as we all like to say, play with their food. Their effort and their focus is not all, I ain't telling y'all nothing y'all don't know, it's not always consistent. Draymond had to be, pushed into showing up for game 2 and playing better than he did for most of game 1. Klay hitting 8 threes. Look, Klay is Klay. Klay hitting 8 threes, JaMychal Green. I mean, there are some things that, like, a lot of things went well for the Warriors last night because they made them go well. Not taking anything away from them. But they were on their A game last night in many respects. I don't think that this series, that these teams there's not a 27-point difference between these teams. I think this series is more like game 1. I do think it'll be a 6 or 7 game series still. I think there's still room for adjustments. Natalie, you smiling like the cat that ate the canary.
No, it might be, but they haven't gotten a Steph game yet. So, like, while everything went well, he hasn't gone off.
But they did. That was, but
they got the traditional point guard.
That was I'm about to say, that was a Steph game last night. That Steph got that in his game. See, there you go, underestimating Steph as a point guard.
You know what I mean, a shooting game.
You don't recognize how Steph can really do it all, Natalie. I've been trying to tell you about this man, Steph Curry, but you always want to talk about. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. Zena, it is so nice to finally share the screen with you. Thank you for blessing the show. This our maiden voyage together.
I know. We got to figure this out. We'll come back for sure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, maybe we'll come back. This is strategic. Natalie booked you with me the day after the Warriors won. I see what you're trying to do here.
When they brought their A game. Trust me, they have more A games. On average, they got a 4.0, okay? If that's what we're talking about. On average, they're performing well. So that's why I'm not worried. But we'll be back. We'll see what happens.
All right. Okay, Yale. Talking about 4.0.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.